Just how cheap have houses in Shanghai become nowadays? Let me put it this way. In the past few days, a residential development called Yanyu Jiangnan has gone viral. It's located in Fengxian, Shanghai, and the units are already completed and ready to move in. For just over 1.9 million yuan, you can buy a 3-bedroom apartment and move in right away. But the reason it's making headlines isn't because the homes are so great. It's because of the shockingly low prices. According to the latest policies, the official listing price is first discounted by 5%. Then, buyers get a 15% cashback, which can be given either upfront or later. If it's paid upfront, it basically becomes zero down payment. At this point, you're looking at a 20% discount already. But it doesn't stop there. For these unfinished, bare shell homes, they throw in an extra renovation package worth 200,000 to 300,000 yuan. That brings the discount down to 35% off. And finally, the agent gets a hefty commission, amounting to tens of thousands more. Effectively, the home is selling at half price. Buyers who purchased homes in 2022 or 2023 have already lost about half their property value. This is the real situation in today's real estate market. As someone who works in real estate, I honestly don't understand how prices in Shanghai ended up like this. I used to believe that housing prices couldn't keep rising forever. But I never imagined they'd drop this hard. Sometimes, I really feel for the current homeowners. They've lost so much money. How long will they have to grind like oxen, living on the bare minimum, just to earn it back? Shanghai's housing market, a crumbling facade of economic stability. Beneath the glittering skyline of Shanghai and its carefully crafted narrative of high-quality growth lies a reality that is increasingly difficult to ignore: a housing market in freefall, vanishing household wealth, and an economy propped up by illusions. While official data still portrays Shanghai as a beacon of resilience within China's broader economic slowdown, the massive price cuts in its real estate sector, with new homes in some areas selling at just 55% of their previous prices, tell a very different story. For a city long seen as China's crown jewel, a symbol of modernity and internationalism, the collapse in parts of its housing market is not just a price correction, it is a structural rupture. Real estate has been the foundation of urban wealth in China for over 2 decades. In Shanghai, property ownership was not merely about housing, it was about social status, wealth preservation, upward mobility, and even retirement security. When homes in so-called blue-chip suburbs start selling at nearly half their prior value, it signals more than a localized downturn. It exposes the systemic rot underneath. This is not just a matter of supply and demand fluctuations. These extreme discounts, 95% official price records, 15% cashback, zero down payments, and extra renovation packages, are desperate acts from developers on the brink of collapse. Operating in a market where demand has evaporated, household confidence is shattered, and liquidity has dried up. That these practices are now openly occurring in Shanghai, the flagship city that was once immune to such Tier 3 city tactics, indicates just how far things have deteriorated. What's even more alarming is the social consequence of this collapse. In a country where most families have concentrated their wealth into real estate, a sudden 40% to 50% drop in property value translates directly into a collapse of middle-class confidence. Homeowners who bought in 2022 or 2023, encouraged by official narratives of resilience and stability, now face devastating losses. They're trapped in homes worth less than their mortgage, with no hope of recovery in sight. The psychological blow is deep and lasting, especially in a society with limited alternative assets. One cannot separate the housing market from the broader economy. Yes, Shanghai's GDP figures remain strong on paper, boosted by trade, finance, and tech. But GDP is a metric that often masks more than it reveals. When one digs deeper, cracks become clear. Youth unemployment remains high, private sector investment has stalled, consumption is weak, and business sentiment is uncertain. Real estate, once a key driver of construction, employment, local government revenue, and household confidence, has become a black hole dragging down all of the above. There is an eerie silence from policymakers, or worse, a cynical attempt to spin the crisis as short-term adjustment or a necessary correction. But there is nothing orderly or healthy about a city where homes are sold at 55% discounts, where developers resort to renovation kickbacks and agent commissions to create the illusion of demand, and where homeowners feel defrauded by a system they once trusted. More critically, the collapse of property prices reveals a broader truth that China's model of growth, heavily reliant on debt-fueled real estate expansion, has reached its terminal point. Shanghai, as the flagship of this model, now stands exposed. The idea that urbanization and home ownership would indefinitely generate wealth has hit a wall. With population growth stagnating and the economy shifting toward lower expectations, the previous formula no longer works. What makes the situation particularly dangerous is that there are no easy solutions. Lowering interest rates or relaxing purchase restrictions cannot restore buyer confidence when the fundamental problem is trust. Trust in the market, trust in developers, and trust in the government's ability to stabilize prices. That trust is gone, and it won't come back easily. In fact, any future rebound may only occur through painful deleveraging, financial loss, and a long-term structural reset, if it comes at all. The collapse of Shanghai's housing prices is a warning, not just for the city itself, but for the entire country. If this could happen in Shanghai, it can happen anywhere. For too long, local governments relied on rising land prices to fund infrastructure and maintain fiscal stability. For too long, developers used financial leverage and political connections to expand recklessly. For too long, families were told to trust the system, to invest in homes as if they were savings accounts that would never lose value. All of that is unraveling now. In the end, the question is not whether Shanghai will recover, the city's long-term fundamentals remain strong. But recovery will not look like the past. It will not be about housing booms, speculative surges, or ever higher prices. Instead, it may involve a painful period of adjustment, forced recognition of systemic flaws, and the end of an era defined by property mania. And perhaps, just perhaps, it will be a turning point, not only for housing policy, but for China's entire economic philosophy. The hope is that out of this sharp correction will come something more balanced, more sustainable. But until then, the homeowners suffering today, staring at vanished equity and broken promises, deserve more than silence. They deserve acknowledgement, transparency, and a reckoning with the system that misled them.